We want to hear from you. Who is Weder?
Yeah, that's for sure. That's probably that's the most complicated question, right? So, so I'm a Brazilian, but now I'm living in London. So I'm graduated in computer engineering. I also did like 2 masters, so one for business management and another one for analytics in big data, both in Brazil, right? And then when I moved to London here, actually, I start to work. Actually, I continues to work at SAS, but my career actually started in Latin America. So my first job was related to fraud. Actually, was in Votorantim in Brazil. But then quickly I moved to Citibank, right, and start to develop a little bit more my career on financial crimes investigations and financial crime detection. Basically, from there, I spent like almost 4 years at Citibank. That's where I main get my background for financial crimes. But then I quickly moved to SAS, right? So at SAS, I'm working for more than 7 years now. Basically, in everything that's related with financial crime, so both fraud, AML, and in multiple industries, right? Not only for banking, but of course a lot with insurance and public sector. For the last 2 years, I'm working here responsible for fraud and security intelligence for EMEA, based here in London, but covering Europe, Middle East, and Africa. And that's me.
Wow.
In a short summary, I would say.
Great experience. Well, nice. Okay, second, why are you interested in the analysis and detection of financial crimes?
Yeah, so basically, actually, that's kind of the thing that I love to do, right? So at first, when I started to work with fraud, and actually that happened by chance, right? So I was not really looking to work with fraud. It mainly happen in my life, right? But then I suddenly realized that it's almost impossible for you really to work with fraud to detection and prevention without putting your hands on analytics, right? At some point in your life, you're going to see that without analytics, you are not doing the right thing, right? So that's why I think analytics is so much, I would say, fundamental when we're talking about fraud and any type actually of financial crimes.
Okay, yes. Okay, where are the main challenge that companies face in the fight against fraud?
Yeah, so I think the main challenge that they face is basically lack of data. Usually, we think that we are gathering the correct type of data, or we are, let's say, or we have all the information that we need in order to do fraud prevention or fraud detection, and that's not real, right? So there's plenty of opportunity for us to collect information from everything that's happening to our customers. So if we take an example, an insurance company, every single interaction that we have with our customers, from the underwriting process to claims, at all these points we can collect more information, we can collect more data. Of course, in order to realize if we are really talking with our customers, if we are getting real customers talking with us, and especially if they are trying to lure us, if they are trying to commit fraud at any point. After that is how we use that data. And sorry, Andres, I know that you are eager to ask me one more question, but
no, don't worry, please go ahead.
Thank you, mate.
Sorry.
You know that I like to talk a lot. So basically, I think
it's okay. It's okay for us. Please
that's great.
share our knowledge.
Brilliant. So after all this data collection, I think the next step is how can we use that data? And I see more and more companies they're not really, let's say, implementing all the tasks or all the jobs that they should be doing with all this data, right? So again, and we get back to the focus on analytics, right? So you must know what to do with the data that you have collected. You must know how to use analytics in order to create like new scenarios, detection models, machine learning models, network strategy analytics, and all this cool stuff that we can do nowadays.
Okay, Weder, I want to know, what do you think about the anti-fraud culture?
Yeah, that's a great question. So basically, in terms of anti-fraud culture, I think we are still missing a lot, right? Every single company, of course, they they kind of have one department for fraud, especially when we're talking about banks, insurance companies, and all, right? But it's not really in the culture of the company, right? I think we need to expand that way more. So of course we have people like us that are used to work with fraud and financial crimes every single day, but the rest of the company, are they aware that is important, right? So for example, when we see a release of a new product, are these guys that are working in order to release new products in any type of industry actually, are they really concerned with the fraud that are going to happen if when that product hits the market, right? So that's why I think we need to build more and more in every single day of our lives, especially us that are related to fraud activities. We need to propagate that idea that fraud must be on top of the mind of all the industries, right? And of course, we also need to help our customers and make them, let's say, confident that they can trust our solutions, that they can trust our products that we are selling through the market, right? Especially because the fraud culture is everywhere inside the companies that they are making deals with.
Okay. Well, what do you suggest to create anti-fraud culture?
Well, I think first, it should be on the top priority of the C-level of the companies, right? So my suggestion would be we need to make people on the high level of the organization aware of the fraud problems and especially concerned about the fraud problems. And later on, enablement. I think that's like a key thing for everyone, for every industry, right? So we need to enable people. Everyone in the industry should receive at least some, even though if it's a basic training, but something that would empower them to understand what is fraud, what type of frauds they are, dealing with in every single day on their lives.
And the last question, what do you think is the importance of joining our global anti-fraud alliance?
Yeah, and actually, a nice question, especially because I'm joining, right? So, and actually, it's such a nice initiative that you guys have, and I'm really, let's say, looking forward to have more and more of those types of conversations with you guys. But especially, I think a good thing for us to join is we should not be thinking that something that's happening in our industry or in our countries is something isolated, right? It never is. Sometimes it will migrate to different countries. Sometimes you are going to get to import some new types of frauds to your industry or to your country. So sharing information across different countries, sharing information across even different industries, right, is very beneficial to everyone. We are not competing here, right? So we are not competing between companies. Actually, we are working everyone together in order to better enhance our way to detect and prevent fraud everywhere. So that's what I think this global alliance is really a co-initiative, right? So everyone should join that, especially because the share of knowledge is something that can happen on a daily basis, or at least every single time we have a meeting to work together.
Okay. Weder, that is all. Thank you again for your time and joining at this alliance. I am sure that we will have a very good results. Thank you.
That's great. Thank you so much for inviting me again.